Okay, so I just realized that I was not I was not on the mic, so that is an epic fail. So the purpose of this stream is to talk about Wonder Woman. Why is this random dude? Why is he attacking? Like, what is he attacking? Like, is he attacking something in particular? I don't know. It's an MMO. Sometimes you have like funky stuff like that that happens where they're attacking a character that is not there. Oh no, these are enemies. I thought these were just like characters who are like, you know, real life characters. Okay. I was wondering what the heck was going on with that. Did they damage my horse? Oh. No, I don't want to get on the horse. Go back. Stop. They're gonna damage my horse. Okay. So as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by these stupid soldier dudes, the purpose of this live stream is to talk to you guys about Wonder Woman. So instead of making like an actual TVG versus DC video, which is my series where I talk about comic book related things, I decided to go ahead and just kind of make a live stream because I also wanted to play games as well. So I'm in a very strange predicament. I wanted to play games, but I also wanted to come on here and talk about Wonder Woman. So I guess I'll do both in one. So those of you guys who don't know, Wonder Woman came out on June the 2nd, which was last Friday, and it came out and it had like pretty good reviews, like a lot, even fans like it as well. So it's not like, you know, the critics like it, but fans don't like it. Like everybody likes it. So I think that's pretty good. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of backstory on like how I felt or currently feel about the DCEU, even aside from Wonder Woman. So, you know, those of you guys who watch my channel and those of you guys who watch my comic books related stuff, like y'all know that this channel is mostly related to video games. Like I mostly talk about video games on this channel. But there are some random occurrences where I will talk about other stuff as well. But just to give you guys a little bit of backstory about me and just kind of how my thought process is when it comes down to comic book related type of stuff. You know, I'm a DC head. I really do have an affinity for DC comics. I grew up watching a lot of DC material, you know what I'm saying? Like when I came up, I was watching stuff like Batman the Animated Series. I was watching Superman the Animated Series. I was watching stuff like you know, Young Justice and Justice League, the Justice League cartoon, as well as Justice League Unlimited. So a lot of that stuff I grew up on, you know, like I'm accustomed to Marvel stuff as well, but like coming up, I wasn't really that well versed on Marvel. But I do like the Marvel cinematic universe. I do really like the Marvel movies. And the Marvel movies are actually what drew me into Marvel. But you know, when I was growing up, really the only experiences that I had had with Marvel were related to Spider-Man, the animated show back in the '90s, and of course X-Men. Everybody named Mama watched X-Men, right? But for the most part, I had always been very much accustomed to DC and the DC's universe. So like really my position is that I like Marvel and I like DC, but I know a lot more about DC because of what I was exposed to when I was younger. So that's pretty much like where I'm coming from. And then when it comes down to like the DC universe, as far as the comics, you know, I like the comics. When it comes down to what they offer on the TV, I mean, sometimes it's hit or miss. Like for example, you know, Arrow was really good. It kind of fell off for season 3 and season 4, but with season 5, it's like they came back, you know. So sometimes the TV stuff is hit or miss, just depending on what the story arc is about. Their freaking animated stuff I've always really liked. I've never seen anything made by them animation wise that I thought was bad. But when it comes down to, of course, their movies, everything has just kind of been like very divisive, kind of up in the air, sometimes straight up trash movies, you know what I'm saying? So like when I came into Wonder Woman, I wasn't really expecting like a whole lot. Like my expectations were tempered, obviously, because you know, in the past, you know, we've been disappointed by like, you know, Batman versus Superman was a huge disappointment. Suicide Squad was a disappointment in a lot of ways as well. And it just seems like when it comes down to their cinematic universe, they haven't really been taking it serious. It's like they're just kind of trying to rush to market and just kind of get something out without actually putting any like legit thought into them, you know. Like the movies so far have kind of been like they're just trying to get something out just to make a little bit of money with the names, you know, Superman, Batman behind them, you know what I'm saying, without actually caring about the source material. And I think that's a shame because as a person who actually does read the comics and does have reference material from like the old cartoons and stuff like that, you know, I know the personality of these characters for the most part, and you know how they're supposed to be portrayed, like what their personality is like. And it's a shame that we haven't really seen a true to form movie on the big screen that kind of represent these characters and just who they are, you know what I mean? Of course, until Wonder Woman. So, you know, that's pretty much my position. I went in very skeptical. Of course, I was excited because I was hearing good things, but at the end of the day, it's not about what critics think about the movie, it's what I think about the movie, you know what I'm saying? So it's like the only opinion that matters is my opinion. So that's pretty much how I went into Wonder Woman. And luckily for me, as a DC fan, I was actually very pleased with the way that they presented the movie, the way that they presented the characters. I felt like with Wonder Woman, god dang it, these dudes are messing me up. But I feel like with Wonder Woman, they were very true to Diana Prince's character, which of course is Wonder Woman, her name. And I think they did a good job. And for this video, I'm gonna be talking about like some spoilery type things. So I'm gonna be talking about like the ins and outs of the movie, like what actually happened, who was in it, stuff like that. So if you don't wanna be exposed to any spoilers and anything like that, I would recommend that you don't watch this video, because I do plan on making this video very specific about the movie. Let me get to a spot where I won't get toe up so much so that I can actually focus on what I'm talking about here. So yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, this is Black Desert Online. I don't have the title of the game up, but I'm gonna get to a safe place so that I can talk to y'all. Alright, hopefully I'm not gonna get attacked here. Alright, so we'll see. All right. So, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it now. Now that I'm not, I'm not getting too up in the game right now. So I'll start off here. Uh, I'll start out with the first act. So, of course, with the movie, I agree. Gal Gadot she was awesome. Like she exceeded my expectations. Like I was kind of so on her with Batman versus Superman. Um, but like with this movie, I'm sold. Like to me, like Gal, she's Wonder Woman. You know, so let me start with Act 1. Tony, if you haven't seen the movie, I recommend don't watch this because I'm gonna be talking spoilers. So, you come into the movie, they show you the mascara, which is Paradise Island where Wonder Woman is from. And the way that they set it up, like it's so beautiful, you know what I'm saying? Like this beautiful island with all of these Amazon women and things like that. And so like they start the movie showing you Diana as a kid. So she's like running all around Themyscira, her little tutor or whatever is like chasing her and stuff. Basically just kind of showing you how Diana's like this brave little girl. She's very inquisitive, always willing to take on some new adventure, stuff like that. So she's running to where the Amazons train, right? And she's like watching them train and she's like, punching the air and stuff like that. It was just so cute. I love that. And of course, her mother realizes that she's been sneaking off to go watch like the Amazons train. Her mama doesn't want her to do anything related to that. Like her mama doesn't want her to train at all. She thinks that it's safer for her to kind of stay like just kind of stay out of harm's way. And there's a reason why. I'll go into that in a bit. So there's like the mini conflict there on Themyscira. Diana wants to learn how to fight, and her auntie is the general of the Amazonian army, Antiope, which is freaking awesome, by the way. Antiope is awesome. The woman who played Hippolyta, Wonder Woman's mama or the Queen of Themyscira, she like awesome. So she goes to train with Antiope in secret. And that goes on until Diana is about, teenage age or whatever. And her mama finally finds out. And Antiope and the mama kind of go back and forth about, her training and not training and things like that. And of course, Antiope knows like what's really going on with Diana. And to those of you guys who don't know the backstory of Wonder Woman is basically the offspring of Zeus and Hippolyta. But the way it's different variations. In some variations, she's like the actual birth child from Zeus and Hippolyta, and then some iterations she's made out of clay, and then Zeus bestows his power upon that clay and brings her to life, and she they beget a child. In this version of Wonder Woman, she was a baby made of clay whose powers were bestowed upon her from Zeus, and that's how she came to life. So the big secret is that oh, she's from Gladiator? Okay. So the big secret with Wonder Woman's character is that, she's basically a demigod. And she don't know that. She has like these unlocked powers that she doesn't know about yet. Until she becomes an adult, when they kind of become unleashed. When Antiope, she's training her hard, and like it gets to a point where she backs Diana in a corner. Diana puts little bracelets up like this, and her powers kind of come out and stuff like that. So that's like a big deal, okay? So then, when all of that happens, of course, that's when Steve Trevor is introduced. To those of you guys who don't know the lore, Steve Trevor is basically the first man Diana has ever seen. And he comes into Themyscira on a falling plane. And, she goes and she gets him out the water. But before I go there, I want to talk about a little bit about how I feel about Themyscira and kind of how they set that up. So again, Themyscira is beautiful. I like the actors that they had to play the Amazons. Like I love the fact that they showed the diversity of Themyscira. Because to those of you guys who don't know, who don't read the comics, like Themyscira is like the Amazons are women from all parts of the earth. So it's not just Greek women. You got like African women. You got women from Asia. You got women from, maybe Spanish speaking, Latin speaking countries and stuff like that. So like there's different women from all over the world that come to this country or come to Themyscira because they have like maybe special skills, special abilities, and they kind of make this this paradise on Themyscira. And so basically the Amazons are, cultivated to protect mankind if, Ares was to ever come back, which is a part of the big story of the movie. So yeah, so that's pretty much the reason why they train all the time, why they're so strong and stuff, because they're basically like the protectors of mankind. So Steve Trevor comes in on his plane. Of course, Wonder Woman or Diana takes him out the plane. And that's when they find out that there's this big war going on. And of course, Diana, she's like this really inquisitive person. So she wants to know like what's going on with the world of men. Apparently, there's this big war going on. Women, children, and men alike are being destroyed. And they're dying. Like innocent people are dying. And of course, a part of Wonder Woman's character is like her spirit. Like she's like a very loyal person, very true person. Like she has like this purpose to want to protect people. So of course that makes her want to go out in the world of man and fight the war alongside Trevor. So one thing that I can say though about I had a few issues with some of the stuff that I saw on Themyscira though. Like apparently the woman who plays Artemis was what's the retired boxer name? And I think her name is Ann Wolf. She's a retired boxer, and like there was this really strong Amazon lady. She was pretty much like the final boss, if you will, for the Amazon. So if you train, if you can fight, if you can beat this woman, that means that you leveled up basically. And she was Artemis, and I kind of had a problem with that because I feel like she was a little too old to play Artemis. Like, not saying that, Ann Wolf is not like a good representation of what a strong woman looks like. And I'm sure that's the reason why Patty Jenkins casted her to be Artemis and put her on Themyscira. But I felt like if they ever wanted to revisit a story arc that featured Artemis as like a anti-hero or sort of an adversary for Diana, I don't really know how that would go because Artemis is young and she's like agile and she's, you know what I mean? Like she's pretty much all of the same things that Diana is. And I feel like, if they ever wanted to revisit that, hopefully Ann Wolf wouldn't be in a position to where that just wouldn't be like a good fit. So I feel like they kind of messed themselves up there if they ever decided that they wanted to kind of do a story arc with Artemis. That's really the only issue that I had with it. And then like there's this one situation where, Diana's trying to convince, her mom and all of the other Amazons that they needed to go to Man's World, or somebody needs to go to Man's World as an emissary or something like that to see what's going on with this big war. And then she calls one of the women, it was one of the dark-skinned women, she called one of them senator. So I'm like, okay, wait, is she supposed to be Philippa's then? Because she calls her senator, but this woman doesn't really get a whole lot of screen time. She doesn't really get a whole lot of lines. So I kind of really wish that they had framed Themyscira a little bit better, like what is the hierarchy for how the government works, maybe like who we know Hippolyta's the queen, she's been a queen since day one, but like, how does the government work? Like, what is Philippus's, like, what is her duty on Themyscira? She kind of just looks like a regular Amazon that's just kind of living there. She doesn't really kind of take on the form as a senator in the movie. So I was like, okay, well, that was kind of whatever. Because I feel like the whole scene with Themyscira was kind of rushed. I think that they should have spent a little bit of time on Themyscira a little bit in the movie. That's just my opinion. Okay, so we found out, okay, Steve Trevor's there. He's on the island. And lo and behold, the freaking Germans who was chasing him, because Steve Trevor is a spy for, I think he's a spy for Britain, I think. Even though he's an American soldier, he's like helping the British allies. So he's working as a spy. And the German soldiers followed him as his plane was kind of like colliding into the sea in Themyscira. And so there's like this big, huge fight. Like all of the Amazon women come together and they're fighting these German soldiers. Like that scene right there was so epic, bro. Like, I can't even describe how epic. Like y'all seen the trailers. That scene is super epic. And of course, y'all know Antiope dies, which kind of touches you because Antiope is the one who trains Diana. You've kind of developed this kind of bond with her already throughout the movie, because I mean that's also her auntie as well. So you know that's kind of sad, and it kind of really pushes Diana over the edge. Okay, we got to go see what this is about. We need to go fight this war. And you know, of course, they think that the reason why the war is even a thing is because Ares has come back, which is what I forgot to mention. In the movie, they kind of frame the way that they kind of frame how Ares is coming to be in the story. So apparently Zeus created mankind, of course. Ares was envious of mankind, so he sought out to destroy mankind. And so all of the gods tried to, you know, come together and make Ares stop his nonsense. And Ares killed all of the gods except for Zeus. Zeus struck Ares down, and he struck Ares down to the earth. And they think that the Amazonians think, well, not the Amazonians, but Antiope, I'm getting ahead of myself. Antiope thinks that Ares is coming back, and that's the reason why Diana's powers are awakening. Okay, that's a little bit better way of saying that. So, there we go. So, of course, Diana goes to war with Steve to try to find and kill Ares. So that's Act 1, and then we transition to Act 2 when they're actually going into the war. So, you know, you have Steve, and then we're introduced to some other characters like his homies. There was some homies that helped him during the war. I'm trying to remember their names. Samir, which is like this Indian guy. Chief, who's a Native American guy. This man named Charlie, I think he was Scottish. And then they also had somebody else. Or were those the only 3 guys? I don't remember. I'm having a brain fart. I think that was it. I think that's it. So, you know, like they set it up to where like the men were kind of helping Diana as well in the fight, and they were also trying to get themselves in the fight to kind of help stop what was going on. And the role of Steve Trevor and like his little group, like the group that I just mentioned, like their whole goal was to stop this big gas that the Germans were making to like kill hundreds and hundreds of people. And then Diana's mission was to fight Ares. So, you know, of course, you know, they would fight one-on-one because they're, I guess, fighting the same crusade in some kind of way or whatever. And what am I trying to say here? I'm just losing my thoughts. Anyway, they're fighting. So, a couple of characters that they introduced on the German side is Dr. Poison, who was in the comics, by the way, which I did not know because I've never heard of her before this movie. But apparently she was a Golden Age enemy. And then you have General Ludendorff, I think that was his name, and he was like the German general. And then we also have another character by the name of Sir Patrick, who was more of an ally, who made himself appear friendly to Steve and Diana, making it seem like, you know, he wanted to support their crusade, help them. He even gave them some money and stuff like that so that they can go and journey on and fight and things like that. And we were also introduced to Etta Candy. Oh my God, Etta Candy's character. So dope. So dope. I love Etta Candy's character in this movie. Etta Candy is like, she's hilarious, and she's just as I would have envisioned her from the comics. Like, that's one thing that I can say about this movie is like, this movie is so true to like so many different areas of where Wonder Woman comes from. Like, it's true to like the comics, it's true to like the animated stuff. Like, Wonder Woman is a very true to form movie. And I'm trying to think. There was a lot of really good action scenes as well in Act 2. Like, there was this one when they were in like this really small town outside of Belgium, I think was the town they were outside of. And like that's the episode or the scene from the trailers when she was like fighting in slow-mo, and like, you know, she was like coming back and like she did a little spin on the ground and stuff like that, and she broke the gun with like her abs and stuff. Like, that scene is so much better. It's so much better when you actually see it in the movie. There was actually another really good scene as well. Like, when they first got to the front lines of the war, there's like this big stretch of land they call no man's land, and apparently I think that's historically accurate. I think that's actually like something that was actually real from history. So like, of course, you have like, you know, I guess the good side on one side, and then you have like the Germans on the other side, and this big stretch of land where nobody can touch. And you know, they're in the trenches, you know, shooting at the other side, trying to gain some ground. And of course, nobody has been able to gain any ground for a year, so that's why they call it no man's land. So there's this woman and her child inside of the trenches with the soldiers, and this woman is telling Diana that, you know, they haven't been able to go home. You know, they're hungry, they're, you know, they're poor and things like that, and this war is kind of getting in the way of their daily life. So, you know, of course, Wonder Woman or Diana is all like, oh, we gotta get them home, blah, 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 blah. So that's when the scene when she goes up the stairs and like she like crosses no man's land, and she takes her shield and she's blocking the machine guns coming at her with the shield, and then like the other guys, you know, come and they kind of like help push through. Like that part was so dope, because that's like the first time we see her outfit, like her official outfit. And like that's the moment when, you know, you hear her little theme song. Like, oh my god, that part was so dope. I know I'm all over the place with this discussion right here, but like this movie was so good. And I like the way that they that the chemistry, I like the chemistry between Diana and Steve. Like, it was so genuine and so true. Like, you felt the chemistry between those characters. Like, the acting was so good in this movie. Like, just everything was so good. Even like the little side characters, like the guys I was telling you guys before that Steve Trevor got together to help him fight. Like, even those guys just worked so well together as a team. They worked well with Diana together as a team. Like, all of it was good. The acting was great. Like, there was just so many like just dope moments in the movie. And like, there was a lot of really funny moments too. Like, you know, there was that one scene in Wonder Woman when they finally make it to London. But like when they make it from Themyscira to London for the first time, and like she sees a baby, so she's like freaking out because she actually sees like a real baby, which is hilarious. Let's see what else. There was the one scene when she tasted ice cream for the first time, and she told the person who made the ice cream that he should be very proud. Like, that's actually true to like the comics as well. Like, that's an actual scene that happened in the comics. There's this other scene too when they were on the little boat from Themyscira, and they were talking about, and this is another little nod, I feel like, because you know, like there's this big like controversy about whether or not Wonder Woman is like gay or she's bi or what. So they kind of made a little nod to that in the movie. So like they were on this boat, you know, sailing to London, and you know, Diana was getting ready to like go to sleep or whatever. And so, like, Steve was, like, on the other side of the boat trying to make himself comfortable to sleep. And he was obviously uncomfortable because it's, like, a little small boat. So, you know, she kind of pokes fun at him. Like, you know, do you not, like, sleep with women where you're from? And, you know, she means actually, like, physically sleep, you know. And he's weird about it because he's thinking, like, double entendre, you know. So it does kind of like a fun little moment where Diana kind of shows her innocence in a way. But then, like, you know, after that conversation kind of like transpires, she talks about like actual sleeping with, like, you know, pleasures of the flesh. That's what she said in the movie. And she was talking about how she read like all 12 volumes of some book. I guess it's some book about like sex and stuff like that. And then she made a little remark that says something like, they came to the conclusion that men are necessary for procreation, but for pleasure unnecessary, or something like that. So I was like, okay, I see y'all. Okay. So I thought that was pretty funny. And there was some other little moments in the movie as well that just kind of made me chuckle. Like, there was this one part in the movie when Steve Trevor had finally come back and he went to go talk to his superiors. And he had some intel about the Germans from when he was a spy, before he had got shipwrecked on Themyscira. And they weren't really trying to hear it. And they told him to kind of like drop his little crusade, just forget all about it. You know, you're basically committing suicide. Everything would kind of work itself out on its own and stuff like that. So, of course, that made Diana really, really upset, because she's like, how could you sit up here and let your soldiers die where I'm from? The generals fight alongside their troops, and they fight for honor and for truth, and you know how she goes. You know, she's really like righteous and all that stuff. So they go out into the hallway after that little scene, and then and then Steve Trevor basically reveals to her that he was actually lying when he just agreed to just drop it, and that they were actually gonna go. And then she kind of had like this little look on her face, and she was like, "So you were lying?" Like, it was just so funny, like just so funny. That whole little bit was just awesome. Like, Act 1 and Act 2 was just like a smash hit. And then we get to Act 3. So Act 3, it comes to a point where Diana realizes that the general from Germany is not Ares. He's just a regular man. And they kind of get into a little skirmish, and she actually kills the dude, right? And nothing happens. She believes that, you know, if she were to kill Ares, you know, mankind would come to their senses and just kind of stop fighting altogether. They would just stop the war. So she kills the general, believing that he's Ares, and that doesn't happen. The war's still going on. They're still distributing this gas to kill all of these innocent people just to gain some ground on the war. And she becomes really upset and really disoriented and really confused because, you know, based on all of the teachings that she had been taught on Themyscira, you know, men are either good or they're bad. And if they're bad, it's because Ares made them bad. So, you know, she kind of had a little moment where she was kind of like just being, you know, like, whatever, I don't even care anymore. My mom was right. Y'all don't deserve us. You don't, you know. So, you know, Chris Pine's character, Steve Trevor, just had to kind of let her know, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what's going on with this Ares nonsense, but sometimes people are just bad. Like, sometimes people just choose to make bad choices. She didn't want to accept that. So it was kind of what it is. But, you know, then Ares actually did reveal himself to her after the fact. Comes to find out that it was one of the allies from earlier who, you know, gave them the money. He's like this old British dude, and he's the one who's actually Ares. So, you know, they go in some back and forth and stuff like that, and then they get into this big fight. But in the meantime, while Ares and Wonder Woman, y'all, I'm letting y'all know, this is spoilers. I'm letting y'all know this is spoilers, okay? So, while Ares and Diana are having their little battle, Steve Trevor is trying to still stop this gas from being distributed so that it won't kill all these people. So, of course, you know, Steve Trevor's a pilot. So he takes the plane that they were loading all of the little gas bombs on. He, you know, takes it up in the air so many feet away so that it won't harm anybody. And he ends up, you know, he shoots the gas containers behind him while he's in the pilot seat. Of course, the airplane explodes. Steve Trevor is dead, obviously, but he did save the day. But before he died, before that little scene, there was this part when Ares and Diana were fighting, and he hit her so hard she was really disoriented, and he was trying to talk to her. Steve Trevor was trying to talk to her, and she couldn't even really understand what he was saying because she was disoriented from the blast that she had just taken from Ares. So basically, you know, he was just telling her, you know, like, I have to do this. It has to be me who does this. And it's like, you get kind of emotional because, like, y'all already know, like, Steve Trevor is like the original Wonder Woman bae, you know? So it's like, oh my God, like, he got to do it though. He has to do it. And he kind of went into this whole spiel about how, you know, he has to do it because he could be the hero of today, but Diana will eventually be the hero of, you know, forever, basically. So whenever she comes back to her senses and she realizes what just happened above her, which is Steve Trevor's airplane exploding in the air like that, she gets really, really upset. And she just starts going hard body. Like, she starts, like, blasting through, like, German soldiers and stuff. And, like, it was just real epic. And then, you know, while that's going on, Ares is like, don't you see, mankind is evil. All of this could be prevented if you and I just work together. We're both gods. These humans, they don't deserve us. You know, we're better. We're above them. So, you know, at first Diana kind of had to think about it. And, you know, he had Dr. Poison, which was the lady who was making all of the gases and stuff. Like, he was like, see, look at her. She's ugly and stuff like that. And she did all this bad stuff and whatever. So Diana, like, she thought about it for a little bit. She hesitated for a little bit, and then she kind of thought about, like, okay, actually, it's not what, you know, they do or what people do. It's what you believe in, right? Because this is something that Steve Trevor had told her in the movie before, and she was just like echoing what he said. And like then she just started wrecking shop on dude. Like, it was epic, dude. Like, I did have some issues with Act 3. Like, for one, I don't think that dude should have been Ares. I thought he was kind of like, he didn't really fit the part physically, because he's like some old English dude with some weird, like, you know, that era mustache. I just thought it was kind of whack. I thought that the end battle, of course, it had to be CG because, of course, Diana's a demigod, Ares is a god, but just kind of the way that they did it was kind of just so, like, I feel like they went balls to the walls with the CG part to the point where they didn't even really try to have some kind of cohesive battle. You know what I mean? Like, I think that that's something that they could have done better. But overall, I do like the movie a lot. And it kind of gives me hope that, you know, maybe in the future DC will actually get it together and act like they know who their characters are. I think that after this movie, like, they need to lock Patty Jenkins down, and she needs to make the next Wonder Woman. She needs to make the next Superman, because, like, this woman got Diana's character down to a T. Like, you can tell that when Patty was developing the movie, she was thinking to herself, okay, would Diana actually do this in this type of a situation? Like, would she actually do this? Would Steve Trevor actually do this? Is this something that he would actually do? And that makes me happy as a person who likes the comics to be like, yo, this is just what these characters would do, like, in the comics, you know? So really well done movie, man. Like, it had its little issues. Like, I think it has some pacing issues, like I mentioned before, like with the mascara. They could have spent a little bit more time on the mascara. They could have spent a little bit more time talking about Diana's powers, because they never really explained to her what she was or how her powers worked. You didn't really find out until, I guess, Ares mentioned it at the end of the movie, which I guess is the point. But I don't know, I feel like it wasn't as spectacular as it could have been, because it's kind of like Ares tells her this, and then she's like, no, you're lying. But then she kind of like gets used to the idea, I guess. And then she starts harnessing Ares' power, and that's how she defeats him. Because apparently her bracelets were like locking in the electricity that he was shooting at her, and she just kind of used it back on him, and that was kind of like the end, you know? Like, she kind of did like this big Hadoken, and like that was the end of Ares. So I don't know. So I don't know, man. I enjoyed the movie a lot. I watched it a second time, and I liked it even better the second time that I watched it, because I was able to like catch a lot of stuff that I missed like the first time. King Avery, I'm not starting a movie channel. I talk about comic book related stuff on here sometimes. But yeah, if any of you have seen Wonder Woman, like, how do you feel about the movie? Like, what are your thoughts? I enjoyed it. And I'm really happy that Wonder Woman was a hit, because if Wonder Woman was bad, I wouldn't have any more faith in the DC cinematic universe. Like, I think I would have just gave up, like, and just stuck to the comics and the animated stuff, because I don't know if I could have handled another questionable movie. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But I do think that in this movie, you could tell that Jeff Johns had a lot of influence. Like, Jeff Johns and Patty Jenkins, like, just seeing them in like interviews and stuff. Like, I saw one video at San Diego Comic-Con, or was it WonderCon, when they were at a panel talking, and you could just kind of tell like that this was just two creative people that have really good synergy between them. You could tell that they had some really good ideas that bounced off of each other, and it worked really well for the movie. Yes, this is the best superhero movie that I've seen in like a while. Like now, I think Wonder Woman is at my top. I would say like my top favorite superhero movies would have to be Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Wonder Woman. Let's see, Captain America: Civil War, Iron Man 1, and Ant-Man. Like those would have to be like my favorite superhero movies now of all time. Like those movies were just so good, and I'm glad that Wonder Woman made the list, considering that especially I'm a big DC fan, and I've been waiting for them to get it right. You know, I feel like, you know, like I was saying at the beginning of this video, that they were trying way too hard to get up to Marvel's level. Like it took Marvel like 10 years plus to get to this level. So I thought that DC, they really need to slow it down and like focus on getting their characters right, because I feel like when you look at Man of Steel, I don't even think Man of Steel was that bad. Like I had some issues with Man of Steel, but I think that overall I rather enjoyed Man of Steel. Batman versus Superman was all over the place. Like all over the place. Like you could tell that because here's the thing with Batman versus Superman. Batman versus Superman was supposed to be Man of Steel 2. But since they were trying to hurry up and catch up with Marvel, they decided to put Batman in that movie, and it came out to be like a hot mess. So that was a big mistake, I think. Let's see. Suicide Squad. I liked Suicide Squad up until like they got to the plot line. Like when they introduced the characters and like they got together, like all of that was cool. But when they announced, you know, like the big bad and stuff, I'm like, okay, just throw the rest of this movie in the trash. And also there was a lot of issues with Suicide Squad as well, because basically the WB executives didn't just let them make the movie that they wanted to make. So there was a lot of corporate meddling in both Batman Superman versus Superman and Suicide Squad, where with what's that movie? Where with Wonder Woman, sorry, you could tell that this is the movie that Patty Jenkins wanted to make. And I think that the best thing that they could do is just let these directors make the movie that they want to make. Because whenever there's a whole lot of corporate meddling, that's when things go bad. Like I said, that's what happened with BVS. That's what happened with Suicide Squad. Man of Steel was kind of whatever, because it was like the first of its kind, I guess. It was more of an origin story. So it's like, here's my thing with Man of Steel. I liked Man of Steel. I liked the direction they were trying to go with Man of Steel. You could tell that they had some kind of idea of what they wanted to do with the movie. The only thing that I didn't like was kind of like some of the tonal things. Like I feel like sometimes it was just kind of a little too one note. But if they were to take that, like a similar formula, and make a sequel and kind of make it a little bit more balanced, like how Wonder Woman is balanced, that would make it a better movie. But overall, I didn't really think it was that bad. But Batman vs. Superman was a hot mess. Suicide Squad was a hot mess. So I'm glad that Wonder Woman got it right. And I really hope that getting Jeff Johns in a higher position to where he's overseeing the DCEU is going to mean that maybe Aquaman is going to be a good movie. You know, The Flash is going to get a good movie. Cyborg is going to get a good movie. I don't think Justice League is going to be a good movie. I think it's too late for Justice League, because that was already far along in development. And you can kind of tell that the story is probably going to be convoluted in Justice League as well. But I just think that they just have to be more balanced. Like with Wonder Woman, there was some sad parts, there was some happy parts, there was some funny parts, and there was some straight up like soul wrecking parts. Like it was just a balanced movie. Let's see, what y'all saying in the chat? As someone who actually likes the Guardians comics, the original and the new team, that movie was horrible. You don't like Guardians? I think I like Guardians 1 better than Guardians 2, but I don't really like those movies as much as everybody else does. Maybe it's because I'm not attached to the lore of those movies. Because sometimes if I'm not attached to the lore or something, it kind of falls flat on me. All the Spider-Man movies were trash. I don't know, man. I like the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think it was. I don't remember if I seen 1, but I know I like 2. Well, I don't know. A lot of people didn't like that movie, but I liked it for whatever reason. DC TV shows are way better than their movies. There's TV shows that are pretty good. Sometimes they're a miss. Like, I feel like with Arrow, season 3 and 4 was a miss. But 5, oh my god, 5 is on the level of season 2 right now. Like, season 5, fire. And The Flash is kind of like, it's like still good, but it's not as good as the first 2 seasons for me. I think it's kind of hitting like that mid series wane until, of course, it eventually spikes back up with something more interesting. Man of Steel was good up until the never-ending fight scene in the end. Not great, but good. Man of Steel is not as bad. I agree with you, Betty. Guardians was straight garbage. They ruined Star-Lord, and that dance-off scene in the end was the cringiest feeling I've ever. Oh my god. See, I don't know. I don't read the Guardians comics, so I don't really know what's good and what's bad about, whatever. I agree with you, King Avery. Arrow fell off so hard for season 3 and 4, but season 5 though. Season 5 is like on par with the Deathstroke arc from season 2. Like Prometheus, the new villain. So good. So good. But I think I'm gonna get off of here soon. I really didn't want this to be a long stream. I just kind of had to fangirl out for a little bit over Wonder Woman. So good. And like Wonder Woman was so good, it made me want to go back and start reading these comics based on the Amazons. Like there's this new comic out right now. It's a 6-issue story arc called Lost Odyssey of the Amazons. And even that's good. I'm just like, wow. Like the Wonder Woman universe is like killing it right now. Even in the comic side, it's killing it right now. Which I need to go finish reading. Supergirl is terrible. Supergirl could be better. Could be better. Like there's some episodes I'm like, okay, that wasn't bad. And then there's some episodes I'm just like, a little too much cheese for me. A little too much cheese. And I usually like cheese. I like with the Flash, I think the Flash is the right variety of cheese. And then you have Supergirl, which is just like, this is a little too much cheese. So that's kind of where I'm at with Supergirl. Like right now, like the Supergirl villain is whack. Like, whack. There's no good episodes. I don't know, there's been some episodes I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. I enjoyed that. But I haven't been overwhelmingly over the moon for anything Supergirl. I think the only episode of Supergirl where I was just over the moon was like the episode when they first revealed Martian Manhunter. Now that episode, when Martian Manhunter revealed his true form, son, that was lit. That's actually what made me want to watch Supergirl, because I found out Martian Manhunter was in the show. If it wasn't for Martian Manhunter, I probably wouldn't even watch the show. I wasn't really feeling Daredevil, to be honest with you. Like, I watched season 1, and really, like, I watched the entirety of season 1, and I was not over the moon about that show either. Like, I did like Kingpin. Like, the dude who played Kingpin, oh my god, like, Kingpin was like the best part of season 1. Like, I still need to go back and watch season 2. Because I heard that season 2 was a lot better than season 1. But Kingpin, boy. Oh, he was good. He's a great actor, the dude who plays Kingpin. Yeah, I feel what y'all are saying about Supergirl. I feel you. Like I said, the only reason why I was watching Supergirl is because of Martian Manhunter. Because the Martian Manhunter is my dude. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank y'all for coming and chilling with me. Let's see. Let's do y'all stand in the chat real quick. Didn't Ares destroy Wonder Woman's sword? How did she get a new one in Batman v Superman? I mean, I'm pretty sure she had somebody craft her one or something. Or maybe it was just another iteration. If I recall correctly, after they won the war, she went back to Themyscira, I think. Don't quote me on that. Stranger Things. I have not seen Stranger Things, but I've heard that it is a very good show. I'm too cowardly to watch stuff like Stranger Things. Like, I already have an active imagination, so I stay away from shows that are kind of creepy like that. Because I know me. Alright, y'all. My voice is starting to hurt. I think I've exhausted all I had to say about Wonder Woman. Thank you guys for watching this video. And I'll talk to y'all at a later date. Peace. And, you know, there might be some more comic related stuff that I want to talk about. Because I'm starting to try to go back and catch up on my my pull list, all my backlog of comics I have to go through. There's a lot of good comics that I have. Like, I've read all of my comics from Free Comic Book Day that I have not talked to y'all about, which are really good, by the way. Really, side note, Free Comic Book Day was so boss this year, fam. Like, they had so many bangers, bruh. Like, I got The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess manga, and it also had a little blurb from Majora's Mask manga. What else did I get? The Captain America Secret Empire book. They had that for free, fam. They had Wonder Woman issue #1, the Rebirth edition, for free. What else did I get? Freaking I can't remember what else I got for free. I got a Rick and Morty one for my boyfriend, and then I got, I think it was Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man or something, Peter Parker or something. I don't remember. It was a Spider-Man one. They had that for free as well. Oh, fire. Fire. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you guys for watching again. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed, or follow if you have not followed me yet. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. And I'll tell you guys at a later date. Peace.